It is Portland, Maine, and that is stop number 9 for the PBA Tour as we're getting ready for the Owens Craft Roth Holman doubles. And welcome to the pregame show presented by AMF alongside Kyle Sherman, Rick Allen, and yes, we have the namesake of the Roth Holman doubles in Marshall Holman is joining us. And Marshall, you have been a namesake of this event for a couple years now, obviously because of the success that you and Mark had.
Yeah, Mark and I were the first dominating doubles team going back, gosh, I guess it's late 70s, early 80s, so quite a long time ago. And it all came about when Mark Roth came up to me and he asked me if I wanted to bowl as his doubles partner, and I took approximately a millisecond to say yes, because Mark was the man, #1 player in the world, and I was just an up-and-comer. But he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. But when Mark asked me to be his doubles partner, it gave me so much more, feeling of yes, I can.
Yeah.
And the confidence that he gave me was just amazing.
So with that, you guys had a great success. Before we talk about Brad and Kyle, I want to talk about what do you see as far as the chemistry of a doubles team that is successful, because you and Mark had it.
Well, we were both power players back in the day. Mark threw a bigger ball than I did, but I also had a pretty powerful release as well. So we could line up with each other. And Mark always wanted to be the leadoff man. You would think, well, you save the anchor man to be the guy, the clutch guy, the better of the two players. But Mark wanted to be the leadoff man. He wanted to throw that first shot on every lane we bowled on, so he could tell me, Marshall, this lane hooks more, this lane is a little tighter, I would do this, I would do that. And I was a good soldier, and I did what Mark said, and it worked.
Yeah, well, talking strategy, you've coached here before in the PBA League. You know this environment's crazy. What kind of advice would you give these doubles teams coming out, trying to bowl when this environment is nuts, they're trying to get settled in?
Well, I think you've got to just take care of your own business, and it would have been difficult for me back in my day because I was distracted by everything. But they really just need to take care of what they can. Just throw your ball, watch the way it rolls, do the best you can. It's going to be crazy. I was told by Charlie, the owner of the bowling center, that there are going to be more people here for the telecast than there's ever been. So we got a huge crowd. They're going to be loud, as you can see. Like that's what we can expect, and it's going to be great. I look forward to it. This center is unlike any other that we've ever bowled at. The level of intensity is just awesome.
The atmosphere here is what I think sells Bayside. I think that's one of the things that the bowlers understand, that they're knowledgeable fans, and they're also very boisterous. Yeah. And so does that, and Kyle, you experienced a little bit of that with Brad in the qualifying rounds.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to change from where normally you guys, it's a quiet atmosphere, everybody's very silent watching, to they might be chanting in the middle of you throwing a ball?
Yeah, I mean, you think it would be difficult to have all that clutter when you're trying to bowl because we're used to just silence all the time. But you talk to most of the players, they start to embrace it. Now, because when it's quiet and you hear this pin drop, you notice it. But when there's all this noise going on, it almost settles you down and you get amped up and you don't have, the adrenaline's pumping, everyone's having a good time. So, I mean, I think a lot of guys thrive in this environment, not shy away from it, and that's why we love bowling here.
Yeah, we're guaranteed a new doubles champion because the 4 teams that are bowling today, they have not won a title before. And so let's take a look at who we have. Eric Jones and Dio Bernard will be taking on the Lavery-Spahr brothers in Sean and Anthony. And then Zach Wilkins and AJ Chapman will take on Santu Tahvanainen and Ethan Fiori. And so those 2 teams will then face off, whichever the winners are, they will face off in a race to 2. So that's the other thing about this format. It's not just a win, you have to win 2. But the caveat there is if each team wins 1, the tiebreaker is a 9-10 frame roll-off. How do you feel about that pressure-wise to win?
Well, if you know the format and that's what it is, and you have to just roll with it. But what happens in televised bowling is the games go by so fast that and a 9th and 10th frame roll off is like no time at all. So it's going to be interesting. I certainly I'm rooting for a 1-1 roll off.
Yeah.
I want to see a roll off. That makes it more exciting for us. It doesn't. We're not the ones under the gun that have to throw the shots. Right. So we, as a spectator, I want to see it go down to the wire.
Yeah, and we mentioned a lot about the atmosphere here. Well, Charlie is the reason for that atmosphere, and he's standing by with Kylan.
Charlie is Charlie Mitchell, the owner of Bayside Bowl. Now, Charlie, I have heard from so many of the pro bowlers that this is their favorite place to bowl just because of the environment. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it means everything to us. I mean, what Bayside Bowl and Bowl Portland do is create a community for all the bowlers, and for the pros to be here while we're having our biggest party of the year too. It's just an extra special moment for them to bond with us and be a part of our family.
Now, what went into building such a special environment?
Originally, Bayside Bowl was a clubhouse for my friends. I started a league of house bowlers, and we had a lot of fun, and so we built a building to bowl in, and it was our community, and now we host the best bowlers in the world, and they're part of the community too.
Well, that community has grown so much because of the fans here. The fans here are amazing. What do you feel about the fans?
I mean, the fans are what make Bayside Bowl Bayside Bowl. They're our regulars, honestly. It's just the people who come here and bowl and enjoy the sport and enjoy a good party. And they're coming here to have a great party and to watch the best bowlers in the world.
There is a lot of excitement that we are looking forward to tonight. But let's look back a week ago and that continuation of the theme of these young bowlers having great success. And we look here at Austin Grammer, who was the #1 seed and went all the way to the 10th frame. We thought we were going to see another perfect game, didn't we?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Austin, what a performance. I thought it was Prather's tournament to win, and Austin showed up in the finals, throwing the front 11, almost repeating history from Bonta, our first tournament of the year. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so another young bowler has been able to hoist the trophy at the end of the day. We look at the top 10 in points, and we're going to show you a couple faces here that are fresh young faces in Brandon Bonta, Spencer Rivage. You've got Ryan Barnes in there. These young kids are surging into the top 10, and really, is there a youth movement right now in the sport? What do you think, Marshall?
The numbers say yes. It's amazing. I had a pretty good start when I came on tour in 1974. I know that was 1,000 years ago. But I made a couple of shows early, didn't bowl well on TV, won my first tournament after being on the tour for about a year. But it's mostly unusual. Usually there's a learning curve where players have to be out for a few years before they start doing big things. But I think maybe it's because of the collegiate programs or the way the junior programs are being done now. But players come out with more confidence. Dare I say, less respect for veteran players?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, process. It's normally like, okay, you got to learn to make a cut. Then you got to make shows. Then you got to learn how to bowl on those shows. Then you can kind of start winning. And these kids are just coming out here, making the show, and then shooting perfect games. I mean, it's unreal.
It is unreal. I did some telecasts going back a number of years, 4, 5, 6 years ago, doing the junior gold. So I'm familiar with Spencer Rivage. He won that once or twice back when I was doing those telecasts. So not surprised to see him doing big things early in his career.
That kid won everything growing up.
Yeah. A phenom.
He is a phenom. So could it be that we could have youth win again, because there is a very young team a part of today's event? We're going to talk more about those individual teams when we come back. More here on the pregame show presented by AMF. As we glance back at the last 5 winners of the Owens Craft Mixers PBA Roth Holman doubles, we see a lot of veterans. We see a lot of big names of the sports, and that's going to be different today. That's one of the biggest things I think that is different about today's event, starting with one of the first pairs in Dio Bernard and Eric Jones, 2 very young bowlers. They're 22 and 21, so combined, they're not even to my age yet. And so you got 2 kids that are left-handed and does that give them an advantage?
Yeah, I love Dio and Eric's chances on the show today. I actually kind of think they're the favorite, especially on this left lane. This left lane, the more traffic that went down for the right-handers, the lane got harder and harder. It starts out easy, then it gets harder. Well, these guys, and Marshall, you know, if these lefties can get dialed in on the left side, have no one messing with their side of the lane, I think they're going to be tough to beat.
I tend to agree with you. And just looking at the 4 sets of doubles teams initially, I couldn't really pick a favorite because any of them could do it. Any of them can do it. But your reasoning is very, very sound. The lefties have their side of the lane all to themselves. We've got big ball Santu on the right-hand lane who's going to throw a bazillion revs. And that's gonna affect the right-hand side of the lane, so that it could affect it good, but it could also affect it in a bad way, which lends the lefties as the probable victors.
All right, so we're saying early on that these young kids might have a chance at winning today. Let's hear from them. They're standing by with Kylan.
Now, Dio, you and Eric are definitely the youngest in this competition. What gives you guys so much confidence?
I think it's just the way we approach the lanes and everything. We're young, you know, we like to be aggressive out there. We like to just have fun out there, so.
And Eric, I've heard a lot that there are a lot of people out there rooting for you guys. So how does it feel to be the future of bowling?
That's a pretty good way of putting it. Feels cool. I mean, you know, you look at people you grew up wanting to be. It's awesome to have an opportunity to become that for somebody else.
Do you think that people might underestimate you because of your age?
No, me and Dio have been out here for 4 years. I think a lot of guys think we're older than we are. And yeah, I don't think we're underestimated.
Now, something that I learned about you two is that you guys have a shared love of cats. Did that help your guys' team dynamic?
I think so, like totally, yeah, definitely. It helps me at home all the time, you know, having 3 cats, like just so fun to play with them and throw toys at them.
And what are you guys most excited for going into this competition?
We're here to win, I think. I think we agree on that. We're just make good shots, be there for each other, trying to win.
No, I love that, and good luck to you guys tomorrow, and back to you guys at the desk.
Okay, so there might be a hair theme going on too with these pairs because, and yeah, I'm going to actually go to another pair, the Lavery-Spahr brothers in Anthony and Sean. Very similar hair, but let's talk a little bit about this. They might be the feel-good story of this doubles match because here are 2 brothers that Anthony had retired, had gotten out of bowling. Sean's still bowling, but Sean said this is an opportunity where I could bowl with my brother. Maybe one last time, and it's not about, you know, the being able to go out there and win or money or anything. It's about being able to bowl with your brother.
Yeah, they're very excited to be here, and you know, I was a manager of one of the league teams going back a few years ago, and I had both Sean and Anthony on my team. So in that regard, you know, I've got a kind of a soft spot for them. I want them to do well. I certainly, if you're just going by hair, I have to root for them. I mean, I have no choice. I have to. But there are a couple of bulls on the lane, and they're a little unorthodox in the way they throw their ball. They have a lot of loft, a lot of power. There's no finesse on the Lavery-Spahr brothers.
No, and I've bowled against these guys for a long time. You say unorthodox. I love that these guys have kind of coached themselves, just giving each other tips throughout the years, and they're raw. I mean, you look at them, they're not cookie cutter bowlers. If you watch our YouTube videos, that's not how we teach people how to bowl. But at the bottom, man, they're so good, they're so powerful, and them boys can strike. And you know, if they're a problem for these 2 lefties in the first match.
Let's hear from the twins. They're standing by with Kylan.
Anthony, coming out of retirement to now sharing the lanes with your brother, what does this moment mean for you?
It means a lot to me. You know, my goal coming into this week was just to do the best I can, you know, hopefully give him a little bit more confidence, have a good week. It's just an awesome experience. You know, this was the only thing I was going to come out to bowl for. No plans to bowl anything else. So it was just awesome just to get to come up here and do this, and I'm excited to go win tomorrow.
And I'm excited for you. Now, Sean, you mentioned earlier that the win isn't necessarily about money. What does this win mean to you?
Like I told them before, it was just more so the opportunity of us getting to bowl together. You know, we're going to go out tomorrow. We're going to do our job, and our motto been the whole week has just kind of been, it's going to work out however it's going to work out. So we're going to make the best shots we can, and you know, if we happen to win, it would be the fondest memory of my entire life. Nothing would ever top it. No tournament, no major, no nothing. But the whole experience, this whole week, the whole atmosphere, the matches we've won, the shots we've made along the way, you know, nothing's ever going to beat it.
Now, I can't imagine how proud your guys' parents are of you. I myself have a sister, so what is like the twin dynamic out there?
It's just nice because we know each other's games. We've obviously been together our entire lives, so it's just easy to feed off one another. There's no, oh, I'm going to let him down, or oh, he's going to let me down. I mean, we've been through everything together, so it's just easy bowling with somebody when you know that they have your back and they're going to be, you know, right there behind you the whole time.
Now, your brother mentioned having your back. How do you have his?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we kind of caught that little rough patch towards the end there, and, you know, I made a couple of really flat-out horrendous shots, and, you know, he told me in the 9th frame, he was like, look, man, he's like, make the best one you've made all week. You made a lot of good ones, but I want this one to be your best. And, you know, he could have gotten frustrated with me. He could have gotten, you know, disappointed, you know, lost the energy, and I think that would have been a huge momentum shift, but he didn't. He just told me to keep grinding through it, and, you know, that's what teammates do. That's what brothers do, and I think that's why we were such a tough out this week.
I think it'd definitely be hard to beat two strong brothers, but back to you guys.
All right, so again, that's going to be a feel-good story with the Twins, but let's look at the next doubles group here in Santtu Tahvanainen and Ethan Fiori. So interesting dynamic with these two. It doesn't look like they're cheering each other on as much as they're, I don't know, maybe prodding each other along?
Yeah, I mean, they're both, if you know those two, that makes complete sense. They're pretty laid-back dudes, but what's not laid back is when they throw a bowling ball. These two, some of the most powerful bowling balls that go down the lane, especially Santtu, and we talked to him, that was actually their strategy. You know, when you're going 1v1 against another team, part of it's strategy, part of it's, okay, not only can you get lined up, but can I get lined up and mess up the other team as well and make them have to move? And that was Santtu's play, was, all right, he can get further left and destroy a lane. So he was probably, the whole match, he would get a little bit more left than he maybe needed to, but he knew that would mess up the other team to where they couldn't stay lined up. And it worked out pretty well because now they're bowling on TV.
Now, can he get far enough left to mess up the lefties?
The lefties, if anyone can do it, it's Santtu.
Wow. Yeah, he throws an atomic bomb.
Yes.
Of a bowling ball. I mean, it's just, I don't know what his rev rate is. It's got to be somewhere in the 500, maybe upper 500.
Oh, way up there.
But,
yeah.
it's just, he's incredibly strong and very, very laid back, but also quietly confident.
Oh my God, yeah. And when your bowling ball hits the pins like Santtu's does, you're confident. You know.
I wouldn't know.
The crowd is going to be raucous, but when he hits the pins, that's probably the loudest it will get in the bowling alley. Let's hear from those two bowlers there with Kylan.
Now, Santtu, you mentioned earlier that of all the places in the country to bowl, you would bowl here at Bayside. What about the environment is so special?
Just the crowd, how they like get into the bowling, how they make so much noise, and it's just so easy to like live off. And also, I feel like it helps to bowl better and better because it's fun. Like it gets to be fun.
I'm glad that it's fun. And Ethan, what do you love about the Bayside environment?
These people stay in the moment. I mean, they love bowling. They love to encourage us, and they love to yell at us. So this is just going to be a good time.
And you guys are both proven winners. Who sets the tone between the two of you?
Definitely him. I feel like I can get loose a little bit, but I have a feeling he can live way more in the moment than I can.
Now, you were telling me earlier that your guys' dynamic is very like chirpy towards each other. How does that feel when playing out in the tournament?
It's pretty normal. I mean, we like to chirp at each other, even when we're not bowling. I mean, just a couple jabs here and there just makes it fun, takes the edge off, but that's why we're good partners.
Now, since we're chirping, between the two of you, who is the funniest?
I take that crowd, but it's also a lot probably because of my accent, so that gives me a little edge over there, but I say I have good ones now and then.
Well, it was wonderful to talk to you two chirpers. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, those two bowlers, we're talking rev rates and power, but when you talk about A.J. Chapman and Zach Wilkins, it's a little bit different in the fact that they seem a little more reserved, but you just never know what that package has.
Well, I know A.J. Chapman very well because he was also on my Brew City Ballers team, and he throws the ball like you might want to teach. I mean, he has a beautiful approach. He has a quietly powerful release and can do a lot of things with the ball. So I'm really interested to see how he does because I know him so well. Now, as far as Zach goes, I don't know him as well, but if AJ wanted him as his partner,
Yeah.
he must have something going on.
The guy can strike. I mean, Zach's one of those guys that, I mean, he can string them together. And these are just two journeymen. I came out with these guys basically 10 years ago. You know, AJ, he's, like you said, he throws it so unbelievably well. And he kind of has that looming factor where how is he not won yet? Because if you watch him throw a ball, you're like, oh my God, this exactly how you would teach someone to bowl. And then Zach is a guy that he came out here and he's just progressed so much. And both these guys have made a couple shows. They've bowled well on shows. Unfortunately, the pins kind of haven't gone their way. I mean, Zach's had some lights out scores thrown against him the last 3 times he's made shows. So, you know, I'm rooting for these guys. You know, they've been out here a long time, haven't won. So, you know, my heart's out for them. I hope they bowl well.
And they have said that they want the crowd to fuel them. They want to play off of the crowd. Let's hear from the two bowlers. They're with Kylie.
AJ, you mentioned earlier that something so special about Bayside is the environment. What about the environment here makes you thrive?
I mean, it's just so loud and so incredible, and guys that thrive off it, like Zach and I, it's just, we're going to feed off it, and it's just going to be amazing. I can't wait to be on the TV show in Bayside again, and it's going to be fantastic.
And Zach, you mentioned earlier that you guys were roommates. What will taking home this win for your guys' roommate dynamic do for you guys?
It's only going to tighten the bond between us both. You know, going to throw 12 good shots, you know, 6 or 5 each, and hopefully at the end of the day, we're going to have the title and onwards to the TOC, which is going to be incredible too.
And back to the desk.
All right, we've heard from all of the pairs, all of the doubles. Can you make a prediction after listening to them and kind of seeing their attitude and what their personalities are like?
Well, in listening to what Kyle had to say, I like the lefties. However, my heart and my head says Lavery-Spahr brothers all the way.
Okay, all right. Kyle, what do you think?
You know, I love it.
Are you going with the hair group as well?
No. I'm not going to go that far, and I'm not going to be biased here. But, you know, one thing we didn't talk about is this is a completely different atmosphere than these guys bowled on over there. It's different lanes, so whoever can manage this craziness of the crowd, whoever can make the subtle adjustments on these lanes that they're going to bowl on is going to take it home. And, yeah, if those lefties get going, they're a problem.
Yeah. All right, so the question now is, which of these pair, which of them get to enjoy the immortality of being a doubles champion like a Roth Holman or a Jesper Troop? We've got all sorts of guys that have had great success. Take a look at that. Yeah, we're talking hair. I don't know if there's anybody better hair than Kyle Troop, but so many big names have been able to win this Owens Craft Mixers PBA Roth Holman doubles. Who will it be today? It is time to dial up the CW right now.